It's 4 o'clock on a Thursday, and you know what that means. It's time for another exciting episode of Taxi's Quarantini Happy Hour. Woohoo! The crowd goes wild. Hello, everybody. How are you guys? Great to see you. Today, we're going to talk about how many pieces of music did you complete in 2021? But before we get into that, let's say hello to the folks in the chat room. Wow, I'm almost sounding like a real broadcaster today. Let's see, we've got John Pearson, Dan Weber, Franco G, Eric Anderson, Jesse J. Peck, Nigel Harris, Pierre Venio, Dan Weber, if I didn't say that already, Dean Turner, Marion Laird, Michael Lehman, Greg Carroza. Hello, Greg. I did get your email, as I said the other day when you weren't here. I'm so behind. I got so many holiday wishes from people that literally it was like daunting to answer them. So I'm about a third of the way through. So sorry you haven't heard from me, but I appreciate it. Let's see. Andre Stepanian, Mark J. Wiggins, Darren Fletcher, Marion Laird, if I didn't say that already. And somebody's missing. Who was just here that's gone? Somebody who needed a bigger glass for their wine, I think. Martin Gravel, how are you? Yeah, it's amazing how many people didn't send cards this year. I think people are just like over the entire, not over the holidays, just like over life. Sherry, Marcus, Milano, Happy New Year. Great to see you. Jim Stamper, there you are. Oh, I thought Jim disappeared to go get a bigger glass or one without a hole in it. Anyway, yeah, so today I want to talk to you guys. Hello, Alan McCool. Great to see you. I want to talk to you about how many pieces of music you completed in 2021. More out of curiosity than for any actual business thing. But I'm going to show you something that I bought. Yeah, hit that like button. Thanks for bringing that up. I appreciate that, Pierre. I guess it was a couple of months ago I saw this and just decided to order it. I got myself that. A Universal Audio Volt 276 interface. For the longest time, I've been thinking about getting an interface. I'm such a poor guitar player, poor bass player, not a keyboard player. I can do basic triads. Dun, dun, dun. Anyway, I saw this thing and fell in love with it and just said, oh, what the hell? It's a relatively cheap thrill. It was, I think, $300. They've got various versions of it. You can buy a single channel version that doesn't have these extra little goodies in it, but I'm going to show you the extra little goodies. I should probably light it up, but see, up here it's got these buttons. And those buttons, it's got an 1176 compressor built in, and it's got a universal audio. I think it's a 610 preamp, which is a classic old preamp. So you can't really dial in a sound, but you can hit the buttons and you can, it's got presets for vocal, guitar, fast attack, and off for the 1176 compressor. And then the vintage preamp is just in or out. So yeah, Marion says it looks really good. Always buy your audio gear by how cool it looks. And if that was really a thing, this would definitely be right at the top. Look, it's got real actual wood from the mid 70s on there. Oh, and here's the back panel. Here's the ins and outs. And there's the front, so you can do XLRs or 1/4 inch in. It's got a separate headphone feed out. It's got 48 volts for phantom power, obviously. Anyway, so Tom and I plugged this in. I've got a Shirelli 87 sitting here on my desk, a Gauge 87 that I use sometimes. And, oh yeah, and MIDI in and out, forgot to mention that. So I plugged the 87 into it, and we just checked it listening to our voices the other day. It sounded really good. So I took it home over last weekend. And I plugged in, I've got a Strat at home, like a 1992 or 93 Strat, and plugged that in. I've got a Fender amp at home. I can never remember the model number. But it's like a 10-inch in a tweed cabinet. I think Fender gave it to me the same year they gave me the guitar, which I think was either 92 or maybe 93. I don't know, but it was way back when. And the amp sounds great. Actually, my friend Marshall Altman borrowed the amp a couple times in. The amp sounds so good that it made it onto a couple of famous records that Marshall worked on. So anyway, I plugged in the amp and plugged in the guitar into the amp and mic'd it with a prototype gauge U47 FET that never came out as the actual model of the prototype that I've got, but Rob gave it to me years ago, and I just had it sitting in a box at home. So I pulled it out and plugged in the guitar, turned the amp up to 3, put the mic 3 inches out from the grill, aimed at the center of the cone. And I've got to say, this thing sounded really, really good. I also used that mic on an acoustic guitar that I had sitting around, just a Yamaha, like mid-level Yamaha, that just one of those guitars somehow ended up in the house and I never touch it, but I pulled it out from under a bed and tuned it up and listened to it. It sounded really good. So anyway, I can't give you a real recommendation based on countless hours of use in the studio because I haven't done that. But so far, it sounds really, really, really good. Now I just need 22 more of these and I could do like a full live band in the studio. That's my dream. Sometime in the relatively near future, I'm going to take a full band into a studio. That's the only way I really, truly love to record. It's like the whole band in the room. Okay, you can go back and re-sing the lead vocal. Yes, we can overdub backgrounds. But I love that energy that you get from a full band in the studio. So anyway, that's my little toy. So far, so good. What else was I going to say today? Here's the box. I don't know if you guys are into boxes or not, but oh, look at that. There's a picture of it on the box. And there's another picture of it on the box. Anyway, that was fun. Sorry, you should make a taxi listing for composition you would record. Maybe someday when I actually get around to doing that, yes. It would probably be rude of me, though, if I have, 5 players out in the room to not record the stuff that they actually wrote. And frankly, I don't even know what kind of music. I really don't know. Are any plugins included? Honestly, I don't know. I just don't know. Do you think I read the manual? I didn't read the manual when I got my first SSL. I just whacked buttons till it sounded good. And if I had a problem, I would call extension 9 for maintenance, and they would come in and say, "This is how you do it, dum-dum." Oh, okay, thank you. That's how I learned how to record. Anyway, let's talk about recordings that you actually completed in 2021. Do you guys want to take a few minutes to total them up, or have you done that already? Because I'm just curious. This is me just being curious. And look, I know that those of you who are doing like big orchestral stuff, it's going to take you a lot longer. It's a lot more complex, a lot more instruments, a lot more tracks, a lot more everything than it's going to take somebody who's doing like a 1-4-5 dirty blues track, relatively simple. So I'm not judging anybody. This is just literally for curiosity. But I am amazed when I see people, sometimes if I'm really, really bored on a weekend or late at night, I'll go and I'll look on various musician forums and I see people talking about, it's a thing I see all the time. People talk about, yeah, I started a tune. They always talk about this tune. They started tunes they haven't finished, tunes they want to record. And it's like a thing that people don't complete stuff. And Where's the book? It's no longer anywhere near me, but Stephen Pressfield says, and I think he's absolutely right, that people are afraid to complete stuff because once you complete it, then you have to quote unquote ship it, which means give it to whomever, send it to Taxi, send it to a music library, whomever, and all of a sudden it's done. It's in its final form and it can be judged. Whereas if it's like, oh man, I'm almost done recording this thing, it can't be judged. So in your mind and in the mind of the person you're telling that to, it's awesome. And it might very well be, or it might not. But nobody will ever know if it doesn't get completed. So there you go. Artistship. There you go. You read the book. All right. So let's start all over because as I was yakking, I missed some of the stuff. So if you guys could repost, let's first just do numbers of things that you actually completed, and leave other verbiage out. Just give me a number like 7 or 18 or 104, whatever the number is. I'm just curious. We're going to talk about all that other stuff in a minute. Wow, Carosa, 151 cues and songs in 2021. Down from 196. What a loser. Looking to get back up to 200 this year. Wow, that's impressive, Greg. So Stuart's got 12. Ken's got 28. Rick's got 30. Mike's got 1. Michael Lehman's got 51. Marion Laird's got 9. Pierre's got 82 written cues. Does that mean written? Because when I'm talking done, I'm talking about you've written them and recorded them. Jan's got 20, Reed 13, Eric Anderson 53, Hill Rosso shamelessly close to 0. Now that's funny. You're not a loser, Craig. Far from it. Alan McCool 5, John Pearson 138. No, it's not just for taxi listings. It's everything. Nigel Harris around 10. Dorothy 1. Marion, I think it's 9. Good name for the album. I think it's 9. Probably 30 on HDD cues. I'm not sure what HDD cues are. Andre's got 76 for taxi and 20 for personal. Wow. Ken Messford's already got 2 this week, or this year. Well, which is this week. Oh, hard drive. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I'm just curious about the completion thing, Hard disk drive. Wow, I learned a new thing that I probably already knew by looking at. I was looking at the Apple website the other day. My wife's laptop is literally like falling apart. She is rough on everything from kitchen cabinet doors to laptops. She goes, well, Michael, a house has to look like people live in it, not a museum. It's like, no, honey, in my world, I want it to look like a museum. It should stay pristine forever. But her poor laptop, and she does probably 4 or 5 hours of work a day on taxi database stuff. She is the queen of databasing here. It's a lot of member services stuff as well. And she is currently still stuck over there in Israel because of COVID inbound and outbound rules. So her laptop, it's not that old. I think it's like a 2013, but you can't upgrade. It's a 2013 MacBook Air, and you can't upgrade it to whatever the latest OS is. Not even close. It's like stopped being upgradable like 2 OSs ago. And I'm not talking about, like 14.6.1, and she can't do 14.6.2. No, it's still back there in the dark ages. So their web pages, about 30% of the web pages she goes to, she can't even open them anymore. So it's time for her to get a new computer. And man, oh man, looking at the Apple website the other day. Holy crap. Some of the laptops, like fairly high-end MacBook Pros, it's like buying an expensive used car. Greg Carosa says, excellent work, everyone. And he's right. You know what? I honestly expected that the numbers would be lower. Apple not even compatible with itself. That's what my first wife said to me as she walked out the door. You're not even compatible with yourself. No, she didn't, actually. Yeah, upgrading a computer is tough. I just had to buy 3 new iMacs for staff recently. Same thing. It's just the computers worked fine, but they were just because the OSs couldn't be upgraded anymore. There's so much software you can't put on them. Planned obsolescence. Anyway, okay, so now I want to know from you guys, spit those numbers out again, but do like 10 orchestral or 15 primarily rock. I don't need a breakdown of like I did 6 of these and 4 of these and 2 of those. I just want to know basically, are you doing orchestral or else or other? Because orchestral, as I said, I know takes much, much longer to do. Stuart says I buy an Apple every 10 years. Must be my Scottish ancestry. I'm not Scottish, but I'm with you. Like laptop. I'm a very important CEO of a really big company, and I've got a MacBook Pro that's probably already 3.5, 4 years old. I'll probably keep it for another 3 or 4 years. I keep them until I can't anymore. Same thing, my phone. Do I have the latest, greatest iPhone or Android? No. Do I have an S9, which dates back to who knows? I do. I have an S9, and I think they're up to like S21s or something. It's not because I'm so cheap. It's mostly because I'm just too lazy to get around to it. All right, so the numbers are coming in. Marion, 3 Japanese instrumentals. Mark Wiggins, 2. Marion Laird, 1 Renaissance harp instrumental. Rick Barassa, 25 orchestral, piano, strings, 5 rock. Marion, 2 guitar instrumentals. Eric Anderson, 31 piano bass, 22 hip-hop based. Marion, 1 Christmas Carol, 1 dystopian Christmas Carol. I thought that was a pretty strange list, I've got to say. Ken Messer just started using a PC again. Do you know the last time I used a PC, and the PC is about 12 feet away from me here in the office, it was the day I sat down to write the business plan for Taxi. I left the post-production company I was general manager of in Hollywood and just called Deb. She was either my girlfriend or my fiance at that time. If she was my girlfriend, she should have split. Even my fiance, she still had time to get out. And I called her and said, can you pick me up after work? And she said, why? And I said, my car's in the shop, kind of. It was a company car. So when I left, I had to go, here you go. You get the car back. Actually, that's how I quit. Was I handed the keys to the company BMW to the owner of the company and said, here you go, buddy. So I went to Deb's place in Santa Monica, and she had a DOS, like a 286 DOS with a monochrome green screen on it. I'd never used a computer that didn't have a mouse before, and I quickly had to learn how to cursor up, arrow down, arrow left, arrow right, no mouse. And that's what I wrote the original business plan for Taxi on. And so that computer is considered a lucky part of the Taxi history. So when Deb finally got a real computer, meaning a Macintosh, we saved that 286, and it's still sitting over here in my Hall of Fame stuff. John Pearson, 138 vocal songs, most indie rock, pop, and songwriter, and some hip hop. Interesting. And Stuart McClellan, 80% instrumental cues, big variety, 25% album songs, rock. The rest of my musical time is recording others, so few complaints. Wow, that's great, Stuart. PC stands for poor computer. I literally don't know how to turn a PC on. If somebody handed me like a PC laptop, I'd go, huh? I wouldn't know what to do with it. Wow. Why do you have a couple hundred covers, Dan? That's interesting. Taxi the business plan was written on the PC, but then literally the very first thing that I bought when I got funded, and I think I started the company with a $60,000 investment. It might have been 70. I think it was 60 initially, and then the investor added another 10,000 to it, maybe 6 months down the road. The very first thing I did was drive to Calabasas, oddly enough, which is exactly where the taxi office is. So about a half mile from where I sit at the moment. Went to an Apple store, and well, it wasn't an Apple store; it was a computer store. That it was like an Apple retailer, but not like an Apple store like we know them today. And I remember I bought a Mac 2C, I think it was called, which is also sitting over there, and a printer and a color monitor. Woohoo! And I think it was $3,800 for those three things. And the guy who invested in the company was like, "You spent $3,800 on a computer. Why didn't you get a PC?" And I just rolled my eyes. So technically, the company started on an Apple computer. So I think it was a 2C. Wow. Mike Sass started 100 projects and finished 0, submitted 0, but soon will put on my profile and start submitting again. So, Mike, I'm curious. This is the big question. Obviously, there's the psychological barrier that the minute you finish something, then it can be judged, and I understand that. But 100 that you haven't finished, why? We've got another good Stomp Clap listing coming up in a day or two. I just checked it today before it went out the door. A couple of good listings coming up. Make sure you open your emails. I remember as I was checking listings and doing some minor edits on them going, wow. Hello, Stephen Elling. Hello, Maurice Cobb. Andre's got a question. When your library signs your track, do you take them off the taxi profile? I have been doing that, not sure. I would ask the library. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. There's some libraries, like I want it off the internet, can't be anywhere. Others that don't seem to really care because maybe they're hoping somebody finds it and uses it and they make money because they signed it. I don't know. You practice on covers. Interesting. Yeah, Carrozza and Pearson. That sounds like a law firm that I probably wouldn't hire. No, actually, I would hire you guys. You're both trustworthy, hardworking individuals. But yeah, you guys should collaborate. That would be cool. let's see, Mr. Lehman's got 3 or 4 piano and orchestral cues, 3 classical guitar instrumentals, 3 songs, several synth pop instruments. Oh, sorry. I ate an entire package of Trader Joe's chocolate-covered coffee beans before the show. I've been sleepy all day, and I slept till 8 o'clock this morning. Went to bed at midnight, woke up at 8. That's really rare. Yeah, nothing wrong, Darren, with going quality over quantity. The ultimate goal is to get so good at making quality that you get faster and can up the quantity. Comes with time. Yeah, every time I think, going back to the topic of whether or not to leave stuff on your taxi profile, first of all, if you're just lazy, you can make your profile not public. That way they can't be seen. And there have been times I said, I don't know how much the industry actually goes in and looks at the members' profiles and stuff. But then every now and then I'm pleasantly surprised when somebody says that they do. So you just never know. By the way, we've been getting, you guys should know this, I should talk about it more publicly. But man, we get the nicest emails lately, or have been getting really nice emails from our clients all over the world. I mean, we really expanded to a lot of other countries over the last, just before COVID started. So I guess it was probably mid to late 2019, and then really pushed on it back around the time that COVID was becoming a thing. And then we did another big burst probably over this past summer, reaching out to a bunch of European libraries. And the libraries that use Taxi are just, at first they're like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. Wow, those libraries are using you? Sure, man. Yeah, let's try it. And then we send them a batch of music, and they're like, whoa. There's a bunch of really good stuff in there. And we're like, yeah, we know. So it's always been fun for me to have a little private chuckle when I see those emails. Like, should have been using this for the last 10 years. I'm getting habituated to caffeine. You would think, but I could still, you know what? I've got some of those little mini cans of Coca-Cola at home. The little tiny ones that are like half the size of a Red Bull can. I bought them when Bria and I and Greg, our video technical director for the Road Rally, were crammed into our house for a week doing the Road Rally. So I figured, if somebody's going to wipe out a soda, I'd rather have them wipe out a mini can. Yes, they cost more. They are cost ineffective, to be sure. But I figured, why get big old cans like these, which I spilled one of these on my keyboard doing a new member Zoom a couple of weeks ago. So I had a bunch left over after the rally, and over the last, 2-3 weeks, I've been drinking them like one a night when I get home from work with dinner. And I got to tell you, I get more wired drinking a can of Diet Coke or regular Coke or Coke Zero. They have 2 kinds of Coke Zero, apparently. One that's got some caffeine and one that doesn't. Anyway, from those little cans, which have got to be like 4 or 5 ounces, maybe 6 on a good day, I don't know. I really feel the caffeine. And if I drink one of those at 7 p.m., I have a tough time going to bed at midnight. Interesting. Yep, the little 6 ounce. I've never looked to see how many ounces, but they're tiny. They're like half the size of a small Red Bull. Like nickel bags. Gee, what's a nickel bag? I wouldn't know. Okay, so here's a question for you. Are you faster at writing and producing music now than you were when you joined Taxi? Give me a +1 if you find that to be true. +1 if you're faster. more efficient and better at writing music and producing it now than you were before you joined Taxi. And if you're about the same, give us a -1. Oh, no, Carosi, you don't get to leave. I'm sorry. You didn't get a hall pass, dude. John Pearson. Wow, lots of ones there. Wow. That is really, I'm so heartened by that. Greg Carosa +1. However, I was slow when I first joined. Then I got faster and I slowed back down a bit. See that? He didn't leave because he didn't get his hall pass approved. Wow. Templates. Yep. And we know how to target the market now. Yeah, I never really imagined that Taxi would become equally as important as a learning tool when I started the company as it has become. So many people say, well, yeah, obviously I use it to make submissions, but the biggest plus for me has been everything that I've learned. Yeah, and Stuart brings up a good point. Committing to something financially can do that too. Absolutely. I'll give out free Taxi memberships to people that have fallen in super hard times or military veterans. I always give free memberships to just there are other people. And I always see it. The people that I give a freebie membership to hardly ever submit because the membership doesn't have as much value as it does for somebody who paid for it. Wow. It's great to hear you guys. TaxiU. Yeah, I actually own the domain name musicu.com. I got to call Tony Van Veen at Discmakers back. He actually was interested in buying that from me years ago. Mark Wiggins hasn't joined. That's because you're a realtor and you've been too busy selling houses. So what do you say, Mark? Is this a housing bubble and things are going to drop? And if so, by what percentage? Taxi TV is everything. It's a visual that some of us can grab onto. That's cool. Custom critiques have great value. We actually had an A&R meeting yesterday. Every other Wednesday we do what we call a TMZ meeting because it's kind of set up like the TMZ TV show where they go around the room and each one of the reporters reports on something. So each one of the kind of functions within the A&R department gives a little 5-minute report, and then we chit-chat about things in general. And what was it we were talking about? The custom critiques. Every time we do one of those meetings, I always say, we need to push the custom critiques more because people really dig them. And as I've mentioned before, at best, they're a break-even. In most years, they've been a money loser, but I don't care. It doesn't amount to, it's not like we're losing tens of thousands of dollars on the deal, and I know that people get tremendous benefit out of it. And COVID has made it a little harder just because many of the custom critiques are from people that still send in CDs, and they're fairly low-tech members. Not all, but some, more so than for regular listings. And during the lockdown period, which was from March until the following July, I think for a period of 16, 17 months, we didn't have most of the staff in the office, just a very skeletal staff that took care of member services stuff. So the it wasn't as easy for us to access the CDs that came in and get them listened to by the screeners. Yeah, people love the custom critiques. Anyway, I brought it up at the meeting the other day. My theme in-house at Taxi for 2022 is marketing, marketing, marketing. There are so many things that we know and so many more things that we could know through data. And we harvest a decent amount of data here, but there's a lot more that we could harvest. And the stuff that we do use or that we do know or harvest or have spreadsheets on, we don't use nearly as effectively as I would like to. So that's my overarching theme for 2022 is to do a lot more that's based on actual numbers. Last couple of years have been a little squirrely because of COVID, and I've got to say the staff has done a remarkably good job of holding it all together. But now is the theme, we got to get past holding it together, and now it's got to be about moving the ball down the field and being a better company and serving our members even better than we have in the past. Why do I think that low-tech members use custom critiques more than high-tech members? Because they're almost all singer-songwriter types, and they want to know, how are my lyrics? How's my song overall? More that kind of advice other than, do my string samples sound good? Does this piece sound like it would work for a trailer? Do I have enough emotion in this instrumental track? People that are doing instrumentals generally don't send in for customs, yet people who are kind of basic singer-songwriters do. JP says the Quarantini Happy Hour has got a lot of us through the lockdowns. Thanks, Michael. How you guys put up with all the gopher and coyote stories, I do not know. Did I already show you guys the picture of the coyote dropping the kids off at the pool on my back patio? I can't remember if I showed you that or not. Just in case. Is it inappropriate to show a coyote pooping? I'm looking. There it is. You guys, oh, that's right. The grass in my yard is making the thing see-through. But, that's my patio. And there it is, the pooping coyote. Family of raccoons, same patio. I'm telling you, it's like I'm running a zoo. No, he did need a pumpkin or something. Let's see if I have any other good coyote shots. I'm sure I do. Oh, damn it. I mean, darn it. Here you go. I'll play you the video of the raccoon family. It's really cute. And if you actually listen to them, they make cute little noises. Do you hear them talking to each other? They make like little alien noises. They're cute. A little live action coyote for you. Just hanging out, looking for rabbits or gophers to eat. This is becoming like a nighttime thing at my house. It all started, apparently, we've had coyotes in the backyard for years and just didn't know about it because we would find the occasional dog poop in our backyard and go, well, that's odd. We don't own a dog. Then we thought, well, it's not that big. Maybe the raccoons are doing it. And then we thought, that we had neighbors that lived next door to us for like 16, 17 years, and they had like 5 pit bulls. One of them was a 3-legged pit bull named Winston. He ended up eating one of their other pit bulls, I kid you not. Anyway, they moved. We liked them, didn't like the pit bulls so much. So we thought maybe their dogs got into our backyard or something. But we had a cat that was like 17 years old named Simba. Coolest cat ever, super friendly, thought he was a dog. He would fetch like crazy. You could throw, we had a lime green colored pencil at home. If you threw that thing 100 times, he would grab it wherever it landed, bring it back, drop it at your feet. So it's amazing because he was an indoor-outdoor cat. There were a couple times where he stayed out all night. The fact that he made it alive, and ended up not getting munched by a coyote is miraculous. We did find one time that he had a little chunk of flesh in the shape of a V taken out of the nape of his neck, so we think a hawk tried to pick him up, but he was a big old cat, so the hawk wasn't very successful, luckily. Looking for more cool coyote videos. Not very good. Too much green grass in that one. Oh, I've got one of the coyote ripping up my lawn. That's not it. Oh well. Somewhere the cat did think he was a dog. He really acted like a dog. You could call him and he would come running over and jump in your lap. He acted just like a dog. He was awesome. First time we found out that he was actually a fetching cat, we were in bed one night, probably 2 or 3 nights after we got him, and our stairs are wooden. And all of a sudden, in the middle of the night, Deb and I both sat up and went, what the hell is that? And you could hear this clunk, 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 clunk coming up the stairs. Scared the crap out of us. And what it was our new cat took a cat toy. We had a thing that was like half of a fishing rod with some string on the end and a feather and a bell or whatever. And the cat picked that thing up and was dragging it up the stairs one step at a time to bring it to our bedroom. And then he jumped up on the bed and left it right there between us, like, come on, let's play. So that's when I took it, threw it out the bedroom door, and he went and got it and brought it back. And I went, look at that. We have ourselves a fetching cat. And it was true. Wow, 9 inches in Nashville. No comment. Let's see if I have any other interesting animal videos to play for you. It's like the olden days of the Quarantini Happy Hour. You never know what you're going to get. Nothing that fascinating, honestly. Nope. Fishing picture, my daughters who are now 21 and 25, when they caught their first tarpon in Cancun, Mexico. They're like, Dad, can we go home? This is boring. And then as soon as the fish started biting and they were landing like these 16 to 18-inch tarpon, they didn't want to go home. It's like, girls, your mother's going to think we're all dead out here. It's been dark for hours. We were supposed to be home at sundown. Doesn't matter. We're catching fish, Dad. I do not know what happened. Well, I had a video, and I can't find it now, of the coyote literally tearing up our yard. It got frustrated one night, and it was it just got pissed off, and the coyote literally started biting our grass. Got the whole thing on video, and you could hear the grass being ripped out by its roots. And the coyote just sat there for 5 minutes ripping out grass. And to this day, I've got a big brown spot in the yard where the coyote did his thing. Oh, you hit a deer on the way home from the store a couple of weeks ago. Oh, I hate that. The bald eagle tried, like, yeah, nothing happened. That's good. I'm good. Yeah, JP, about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that, a new gopher eruption happened in my backyard. And so I took out the gopher hawk, which for those of you who haven't heard this story 1,000 times, it's basically a thing that's about as big around as a pogo stick, and it's about, I don't know, 16 inches long. And you take a device and make a hole in the ground between, like, gopher hole A and gopher hole B, and you stick the thing in the middle because there's a transverse tunnel that takes them from hole A to hole B. And so I put the thing in the ground, and the next day or the day after, I had the little yellow indicator saying, "You've got a gopher." So I went out there and I tried to pull the gopher out through the hole that the trap makes, and it wouldn't come out. The gopher was a little fatter than the hole, apparently, and I went, he's clearly dead, so I'm just going to leave him down there so all the other gophers can see him. It's kind of like sending a message to the mob. So I left him down there and figured, whatever, dust to dust, all that stuff. He's going to be whatever. It'll be snake bait or something. Do you know that the next night the coyote dug with its paws down into the ground to get that dead gopher out of there, and then pooped right next to the hole that he pulled him out from? Oh, man. Oh, absolutely. Remind me, JP. I will bring the gopher hawk to the road rally. It works pretty well. There's sometimes where there's too many rocks in the ground between hole A and hole B, in the tunnel, and I can't find a spot where the tunnel is because the rocks are in the way. So that's weird. But I think I'm up to somewhere around a dozen of them now that have succumbed to the gopher hawk. And I've got to say, I generally love animals. Love goats, as Cass knows. I love goats. I love cats, love dogs. Gophers. I could be the Charles Manson of gopher killing, and it wouldn't bother my conscience one little bit. Yeah, the funny thing is the coyotes never get into the garbage bins at the end of the driveway, but they will poop. I had 2 coyote poops right where I park my bins on the sidewalk for the garbage guys that come every Wednesday morning. And so do they walk up and go, the lids are closed? Well, if they're smart enough to get over the 5 or 6 foot wall that goes around all of our homes in a typical Southern California, neighborhood, how can they not be smart enough to open the lid on the dumpster or knock them over and get what they want out of there. But apparently coyotes must just poop. Maybe they poop before they eat to clear out their tummies, or maybe they poop after they eat because they just ate more food. I don't know. Wow, you had 6 new baby goats born on Christmas week and you didn't send me any photos, Cass? Shame on you, dude. I want to see your goats. They usually defecate before exerting themselves. Good to know. Interesting. Wow. See, and you guys think that you're learning stuff at Taxi. I'm learning stuff from you guys. I just got a picture yesterday of my granddaughter Molly hugging a goat. I don't know where she was, but I got to say, it's a pretty cute picture, so I'm going to show it to you. Or maybe I won't. Have you ever noticed it's just really hard to find stuff sometimes on your phone you look at like 10 minutes ago? Here we go. And look, Molly's wearing a mask so she doesn't give COVID to the goat. But look at that goat. I mean, well, she's almost 6 now, but that's a happy 6-year-old and a happy goat. They're in love. My daughter Sarah, who is the mother of my granddaughter Molly, Sarah has been like an absolute animal fanatic since she was old enough to walk and talk. So Molly has grown up around a lot of animals and has a very deep love of animals. You saw a kangaroo, the Joey, in its pouch in my dad's backyard just recently. That's interesting. That was my daughter Rachel's first word was Joey, because she had a book about a kangaroo, a Joey living in the pouch of its mommy. And one day she handed either my then wife or myself the book and went, Joey, Joey. She wanted us to read the book about the Joey. Sherry, I was driving, so I couldn't participate, but can't tell you how entertaining this has all been. Boy, you really picked a good one, huh? Got to run movie time with the wife. What, are you trying to tell me, JP, that your wife hasn't been watching this episode? How could that be? Oh, man, we're almost done. Only 7 more minutes of all this excitement. All right, any other questions, thoughts, or anything while we've still got 7 minutes left to hang out? Oh, I want to let you guys know that Monday on Taxi TV, we're going to do a top 10 episode. I understand there's some great new music to play for you. And this is big, exciting news that I should have said while JP was still watching, because he'd be into this. Monday, January 24th, I am going to the secret, super private, rock stars only showroom that Paul Reed Smith, PRS Guitars, has here in Los Angeles. And it's at a complex where a bunch of famous stars rehearse. It's like a SIR stage place, you know, with big stages where bands, huge bands, like the biggest bands there are, set up and do like a month of rehearsal before they go start a tour. So I've been over at this PRS room a couple of times already in the past, and you'll be in there just hanging out. A friend of mine runs the room, and you're in there hanging out, and all of a sudden, like a major rock star walks in and goes, "Hey man, can I play that guitar?" I mean, you wouldn't believe the people that I haven't worked with any hair bands that I can remember, just saying. Anyway, it's going to be a cool episode. We're going to go over there live, and just have my friend that runs that room show us. And he just called me this morning and said, just got a great new batch of some really interesting guitars in. So wow, Soundgarden rehearsed for tours across the street. That's cool. Yep, NAMM is canceled once again. Sure, Andre, I'll be happy to grab you a guitar right after I get one for me. Another guitar that I won't play more than twice a year. I've been to that room. It's spectacular. Seriously, even if you're not a guitar player, I think that you would be aroused, if you know what I mean, by the stuff hanging on the wall in that place. It's very, very, very cool. They're beautifully crafted guitars. Anyway, we're going to go over, hopefully the bandwidth works, everything. It could be an utter meltdown. I'm going to go buy a 50-foot Cat 10 cable to bring with me, so hopefully I can plug in, and not have to worry about Wi-Fi. But I did check their bandwidth, and their upload speed on their bandwidth was good enough that we can do it. But I'm trying to think of who some of the people have been that have walked in while I've been there, but amazing. And then probably 2 or 3 weeks after that, my friend who runs that room just took over the actual studio that Ken Calais had, which is in Westlake Village, which is very close to where I live, literally less than 5 minutes away from our house. And he's taken that studio. I'm sorry, I'm trying to read at the same time. He's taken that studio and totally revamped it. Ken Calais moved into another room. This is the studio complex where they did Colby Calais's record with Michael Blue as the producer. Michael Blue owns the whole complex, and then other people rent stuff. Wow, so you are doing a live cross? What's a live cross? Live episode, yeah. But I don't know what a live cross is. I'm looking for your number, Cass. Does it have a 999 in your number? Yeah, I'm doing a live stream from PRS. Yeah, this has definitely got to be you. Well, that's odd. For some reason, it's not showing me a way to text you. Oh, there we go. So I just called you and hung up. Miss these shows. Best cure for grumpiness. I know, yesterday I had one of those days. Have you ever woken up and literally just had probably clinical depression? Not like I'm going to jump off a building depression, but I just had the blues all day yesterday. Just in a funk. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to do anything. I had a bunch of big decisions to make on stuff, and I just didn't even want to make those decisions. And then woke up this morning 90% better. So maybe it's hormonal. Who knows? Christoph got a call from my office one day. Were they raising funds for Toys for Tots? I feel bad, actually. This year, I've got to say, almost every year, when Toys R Us was still open, I would go every year, like a week before Christmas, and grab a cart and fill the entire cart with toys. And not, like $50 or $100 toys, but I would buy like a lot of crayons and coloring books and checkerboards and Monopoly, whatever, a lot of games, a lot of books, a lot of coloring, art stuff, and literally fill the cart to the gills. And then just take it to the fire station and give it to them for Toys for Tots. And I didn't do it this year. And I felt so bad. On Christmas Day, I woke up and realized I hadn't done that. PRS guitars are works of art. Even some of the stuff, it's funny, they make some, I think, in Korea now. And when my friend was showing me those, he was like apologetic about it. Well, yeah, these are Korean. And he plugged one in. And I said, does it play well? He goes, plays great. Plays as great as the, like $2,500 ones. And I want to say, I could be wrong, but I think that they were like $600 for some of the Korean ones. They're equally as gorgeous. The craftsmanship looks to be equally as good. And it sounded amazing. So other than the fact that there's the, I guess, psychological aspect of it was built in Korea, I don't know, but the Strat that I've got is hey, how do you say Hey in Mexico. And I think it was 1993. I wrote an article for Fender Frontline magazine, their quarterly magazine, and they ended up coming back and having me write something every quarter. Usually about recording guitars, what have you. And one day they sent me. Actually, a guy from Fender called me and said, hey, we want to send you a guitar. What do you want? And I said, a black Strat like Eric Clapton's, black with a maple neck. And they sent me a Mexi Strat. And I was a little bit like, wah, 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 wah. Plays great, sounds great. If you didn't see the Made in Mexico on the tuning head, you really, truly wouldn't know. The thing is incredible. Here comes some pictures from Cass, I bet. All right, we're going to stay on for a couple more minutes because I believe... There we go. Cass's children. And boy, is that mama goat pissed. Nice. Cool, Cass. Mama and the babies. Wow. How many goats do you have now altogether? Hecho in Mexico. Yeah, my Spanish is not nearly as good as my Hebrew. My Hebrew sucks. My English ain't that good either. Daddy Cass. They really are adorable. For the longest time, we live in a typical suburban neighborhood, LA suburban neighborhood. And we were thinking about getting a couple of pygmy goats because we have, by LA standards, a reasonably decent sized backyard. Not big by normal, the rest of America standards, but for LA, pretty big backyard. And we thought, we could build a little enclosure for them and put them in there at night. Like an enclosure with a roof on it. And then now that we understand the coyote, there's nothing stopping these coyotes. I would never, ever put goats in our backyard for fear that they would get munched. If we let them out of the enclosure for 5 minutes, went in the house to get a glass of water, to come out and find a coyote eating our baby goat, which would be pretty horrible. Anyway, all right, you guys, we are 4 minutes over time. We are going to get in big trouble. The man is going to yell at us. So remember, don't miss Monday's show right here, same time, same channel. You know the drill. For the top 10, really looking forward to that. And on the 24th, hoping everything goes well for an insider's tour of the PRS showroom. Ooh. They did give away a PRS guitar for the road rally, so this is kind of my way of paying them back, saying, hey, man, thanks for giving that guitar away. Let's get your room a little love. So with that, I bid you a fond farewell, people. See you on Monday. Hope everybody has a great weekend. Thanks for hanging out today. It was fun to get back in the quarantini groove. Bye-bye. Keith LeBrant, Wailing.